Alright. I'm gonna go over my thoughts on some sports issues right now. Just bear with me. The big one right now is RG3, Andrew Luck. However you want to weigh that out. And I've seen a lot of conversation on that. If you were the Colts GM, who would you take? Who would you want? If it was me, I would take RG3 because I think RG3 is going to have a better career. Now, I know that sounds egregious to a lot of people, but I think RG3 is the better quarterback. I think that he's more likely to have a legitimate career than Andrew Luck is. Either way, Andrew Luck's going to be a good quarterback. It's just I think RG3 is going to be able to do more for wherever he goes. And I think it's going to be Washington, and they'll be able to cater the offense to him, build it around him. They've already got some good personnel for that. Indy, they know Andrew Luck type, Peyton Manning type guys, so it's going to be easy to plug him in and start to build around him. It's what they know, it's what the city knows, it's what the fan base is used to, it's what the coordinators are used to. So it'll work very well for both players, I think, and I think that ultimately that's going to be how it goes. It goes Luck RG3, but I think it should go RG3 Luck. The other one's I'm a Panthers fan and a Jaguar City, so I get asked my stance on both. I'm going to start with the Panthers because I'm more in tune with our needs. If I was to be the GM right now, I'd be looking at 4 positions. I'd be looking at receiver, defensive end, defensive tackle, and corner. Receiver, Blackman's not going to be there. If Blackman goes farther than 7, I'll be in shock. And he won't get past Miami if he fell that far, which he won't. That's beside the point. I don't think we'd reach for Michael Floyd, and I don't think we'd reach for Kendall Wright. So I think receiver is pretty much out of the question for the first round. Defensive end is Quentin Coples, Melvin Ingram, and Courtney Upshaw. We could feasibly trade back, pick up a second or a third, and get Upshaw. But I think that if we were going to go defensive end, we'd have to go Quentin Coples or Melvin Ingram. I'd say Ingram just because he's a young Peppers type guy. He provides something that we've been missing on the other side of Charles Johnson. Defensive tackle, I'm still really high on Dontari Poe. Even if he's been deemed a workout wonder and he's not going to do anything, I'm still high on Dontari Poe. But Fletcher Cox has had a great postseason, I guess, training, and then he had a good college career. So Fletcher Cox is a feasible option. At corner, Claiborne's not falling past Tampa Bay, so there we go. Got to see him twice a year. But I'm glad we're not going to see Trent Richardson because he'll be on Cleveland. If we had to see Trent Richardson twice a year, I'd say invest in Dontari Poe because he'll be a space eater. But at corner, it's a little bit thinner. I don't think Dre Kirkpatrick would be a good pick unless we traded back. Then that'd be okay. If we were going to stay at 8, or at 9 rather, we're going to stay at 9, I say we take either Fletcher Cox or Melvin Ingram. If we're going to trade back, then maybe Michael Floyd or Courtney Upshaw or Dre Kirkpatrick. Now for the Jaguars could use new players at any position but running back or kicker. Let's just be real. For some reason, Stephen Gilmore is a big thing. I don't get that. If I was the Jaguars, I would not be going after Stephen Gilmore. They could use a receiver. They could trade up for Blackman. They could use any number of positions, but I do think one name that makes a lot of sense is Fletcher Cox. So, Fletcher Cox and Terrence Knighton, or however you want to do that. But I think that they'll probably go defensive end as well. So if you want my pick for the Jaguars is probably Melvin Ingram. They'll probably beat the Carolina Panthers to it. But I hope they continue their history of egregious errors in the draft because they've been known for making them. Personal and near and dear to my heart is the Bobcats and the tank job they're putting on, being my second team behind Miami because I'm from Charlotte originally. It hurts, man. Support the Hornets movement, though. I want to see Charlotte back as the Hornets, fuck the Bobcats. I'd be very happy with that. the days of Muggsy and so that'd be pretty nostalgic for me. See the Hornets back in Charlotte. But the Bobcats right now, I don't think their issue is lack of talent. I think they're just a very young team, still learning each other, still learning themselves in a sense. So I think Charlotte's going to get better with time. But if they get the first pick, Anthony Davis is too good to pass up. The perfect story, obviously, it would be Harrison, but I don't think Charlotte's going to get that low, and I don't think Charlotte would pick him over Anthony Davis. So that'd be big to plug him in right away. I mean, the defense is better, and the inside, the post offense is much, much better. There's that. Miami. I think Miami is still. I think Chicago, honestly, is better than us right now. Just the way they're playing, the fact they're able to win without Rose. I think Chicago right now is the best team in the East. But I think there's a great shot for another Miami-Chicago conference finals. And if that does happen to be the case, it's all going to come down to who holds home court, who does better on the home court, I should say. If it ends up being Chicago number 1 seed, Miami number 2, it's going to be 2-3-2. If Chicago comes out of that 2-0, they win the series. I'll say that right now. Because we won't, as good as we are at home, we won't win 3 straight. If it comes out split, if it comes out 3-2 after 5 games in favor of Miami, I think Miami wins it. If it's 3-2 in favor of Chicago, I think Chicago wins. I think whoever is on top game 5 would win that series. My finals picks are still Heat versus Thunder. That's just how I feel, and that's not the trendy pick. It's just I think those are the 2 teams that are most ready, and B will be given the right path to the championship game. I think it'll play into their favors that they won't be the number 1 seeds. So let's see. Water break. Last one that I'm going to discuss is UNC. We lost a lot of our players to the draft. I wish them the best of luck, obviously. But the only one I think should have stayed was Henson. I don't think he was ready. But, it is what it is. Harrison was ready. I was hoping he wouldn't go. So, but sports musings for the week by me.